how is all this going to be impacting our Indian markets? Let's get you prepped up for the day in our Power Pep segment. And we have our research team joining in with us. Very good morning, guys. And Hormaz, I'm going to start with you. What are the cues that we're watching out for today for the Indian markets? Nifty implied open at least indicated a bit of a subduedness that we're watching out for today.
It's a make or break day for the Nifty, and morning Vinny to you as well. And the Nifty is now at very, very critical levels. Closed at 24,750, which is the low that it made in the month of September. And considering the 3-day fall that we have seen earlier this week, we were talking of crossing the higher end of this range, which was 25,200. Now the lower levels come into play as well. There is the 7th of October, the swing low that it made of 24,693, that comes into play. And what the implied open is suggesting now is that we might open below that level. And if that happens, we'll see where is the next level, that from where the index looks to find support somewhere around the 24,500 mark. Now, what spoiled the mood yesterday? Of course, it was Bajaj Auto. The massive sell-off that you saw in the session yesterday took all the other auto stocks along with it as well, of fears of a prolonged slowdown. The relentless selling from FIIs, it had tapered off a little, but they've been net sellers every single day in the month of October. And of course, the tepid response from retail investors to the Hyundai IPO, that was another souring sentiment as well. Now, the Nifty Bank, which was supposed to be an outperformer considering it had closed above key levels on Monday and Tuesday, that has reversed all of those gains, now ending below the 50 and the 100 DMA yesterday, and now 51,000 on the downside becomes a very key level to watch for the Nifty Bank. For now, the Nifty is down 1% this week. If it ends lower, this will be the third straight weekly drop, and this will be a first in 2024 that the Nifty has dropped for 3 weeks in a row. IT was the only sectoral gainer, and that might also be put to test today depending on how Infosys and Wipro react to results. That's the big question for the day. The ADRs of both these companies at one point were down almost 4% each. They recovered from the lows of the day, both ending around 1% lower. But the result reactions also coming from Axis Bank, Polycab, Tata Chemicals, LTI Mindtree, a lot of earnings reactions today. And even today, we have companies like Tata Consumer, ICICI Lombard, Hindustan Zinc, and even the likes of Z Entertainment, Jio Financial reporting results today. So it's an earnings heavy day yet again, but very, very important levels to watch out for on the Nifty on the downside. In particular, the GIFT Nifty also indicating a gap down for our own markets.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that, Hormaz. But let's move on, and Vamakshi is here to tell us which are the stocks that you should be keeping on your radar today. Vamakshi, good morning.
Well, good morning, Vinny. Let me first start off with Infosys. CC revenue growth came in at 3.1% sequentially. Margins were, however, flat for the company at 21.1%. The revenue guidance has been upgraded from 3 to 4% earlier to 3.75 to 4.5%. Wipro too reported its numbers. CC revenue growth of 0.6% sequentially is what the company has reported. Margins expand to 16.8%, and the board additionally has approved bonus share issue in the ratio of 1:1. LTI Mindtree CC revenue growth came in at 2.3% sequentially. This is slightly lower than what we were expecting. Margins, however, have expanded by 50 basis points to 15.5%, largely in line with what we were expecting. Axis Bank's net profit sees a jump of almost 18% YOY. Tax reversals offset the higher provisions. The fresh slippages moderated to 4,443 crores, while the provisions stayed elevated at 2,200. Polycab revenue sees an uptick of almost 30.4%. This is higher than estimates, but the margins come in sharply lower at 11.5%. Tata Chemicals margins sees a very sharp contraction by almost 500 basis points to 15.5%. Net profit sees a very sharp knock of 46%. MGL and IGL will be on our radar today, and that is because APM gas allocation to the sector has been cut sharply by 20% from the current 72%. The companies say that this will impact their profitability. However, they are in discussion with key stakeholders to minimize the impact. Zomato will be considering fundraising via QIP on October 27th. And lastly, keep an eye out on Manappuram as well, because RBI has asked Asirvad MFI and 3 other NBFCs MFIs to stop sanction and disbursal of loans, and the action is based on concerns observed in the pricing policy.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. But finally, let's go across to Sudarshan, who's standing by to tell us what should we be watching out in the world of F&O. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Vinny. So yesterday we saw broad-based selling, and amid that we saw major indices falling up to 2%. And for today also, GIFT Nifty is indicating a start with major cuts, that is almost 100 points. Coming to institutional flows, we continue selling by FIs. FIs have now sold for 14 state sessions, and so far in the month of October, now they have sold more than 74,000 crore rupees. Talking about index futures, FIs remain sellers over here also. They have sold more than rupees 133 crore and they have reduced positions both sides, long as well as short. On the long side, they have cut positions by 5,900 contracts and on the short, they have lightened their positions by 4,200 contracts. And with this, long exposure now stands at 33%. On the client side, they continue to add long positions. They have added contracts of more than 2 lakhs, and with this, long exposure now stands at 63%. On the option front, we saw major activities in 25,000 call, where we saw addition of almost 31 lakh shares, premium at 76. For 24,800 call, we saw addition of almost 24 lakh shares, and premium is 163. On the put side, 24,500 put has seen addition of almost 13 lakh shares, and premium is 64. And with this, support for Nifty is now seen somewhere around 24,700 and resistance is at 25,000. Lastly, two stocks that might be in focus. First is Infosys. Stock has been moving higher for the last few sessions, and as far as result is concerned, result was healthy, but problem is there is no positive trigger to move higher here on. And second is Infosys. Even though it was a weak day yesterday, in Reliance closed higher in the trade.
Absolutely, Sudarshan. Thank you so much for that, keeping an eye out on that. But let's